Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Earth's atmosphere proved deadlier than alien engineering. The sleek warship of the Terran Collective hung in Earth's orbit like a metallic predator watching its prey. Its smooth hull reflected the distant sun's light, creating an almost beautiful shimmer that would have fascinated human astronomers had they detected it. But the Terran cloaking technology kept them hidden from Earth's primitive scanning systems. Commander Du moved across the observation deck with measured steps. His tall, slender frame cast a long shadow across the polished floor. The silver skin around his eyes crinkled as he narrowed his gaze at the blue-green planet rotating slowly below them. Earth looked peaceful from up here, innocent and unaware of the danger that had arrived at its doorstep. "What is the status of our planetary analysis?" Du asked, his voice carrying the slight metallic tone common to all Terran officers. Han looked up from her station, where complex holographic displays floated in the air before her. Her fingers moved through the data streams with practiced precision, pulling relevant information forward for review. "We have completed 3 orbital cycles of deep scanning, Commander," she replied. "The results are consistent with preliminary findings. The dominant species has achieved rudimentary space flight, but remains confined primarily to their planet. Their most advanced weapons would be ineffective against even our scout vessels." Du nodded slightly. "And the planetary environment?" "Standard Class M world parameters. The atmosphere is primarily nitrogen and oxygen with expected levels of carbon dioxide and water vapor." Han rotated a 3-dimensional model of Earth's atmospheric layers. "Nothing our environmental systems haven't processed successfully on 17 previous conquests." Du stepped closer to examine the model. "Any unusual radiation patterns? Electromagnetic anomalies?" "None detected, Commander. Their sun is stable, and planetary magnetic fields are within normal ranges for a world of this size." Commander Du walked to the main viewing portal, a massive transparent section of the hull that offered an unfiltered view of Earth. From this distance, he could make out the swirling weather patterns, the blue oceans, and the green and brown land masses. The white polar caps reflected sunlight brilliantly. "It seems almost too easy," Du mused. "The Council predicted more resistance from this sector." Senior Science Officer Min joined them, carrying a data pad. "The simplicity is precisely what makes this world valuable, Commander. Minimal terraform requirements mean rapid resource extraction can begin almost immediately after pacification." Du turned to face his officers. "The home world's needs grow more urgent each cycle. Our last 3 conquest attempts encountered species with greater than anticipated defensive capabilities." "The humans have no such capabilities," Min assured him. "Their most advanced military units would be overwhelmed by a single squad of our warriors." "And biological compatibility?" Du asked. Min checked his data. "Our preliminary field agents reported minimal immune response to the planetary biosphere. Standard filtration protocols in our combat suits should be more than adequate." What none of the Terran officers knew, what their advanced scanning technology had failed to detect, were the billions of microorganisms that made Earth unique in the galaxy. Their scanners had identified the basic atmospheric components, but missed the complex ecosystem of bacteria, fungi, and viruses that had evolved alongside humans for millions of years. These microscopic life forms existed in a delicate balance with each other and with larger life on Earth, a balance the Terran were about to disturb. Commander Du walked to the tactical station where Officer Park was preparing battle simulations. The holographic display showed Earth with potential deployment zones highlighted in red. "I recommend we follow standard invasion protocol," Park suggested. "Simultaneous drop pod deployment to neutralize major population centers, followed by secondary waves to secure resources and establish processing centers." Du studied the tactical map. "How many drop pods in the first wave?" 3,000, Commander, each containing 1 warrior with full combat loadout. The pods will penetrate their atmosphere at high velocity, bypassing their rudimentary air defenses before they can even detect our presence. Du nodded his approval, and our warriors are prepared. They have completed all simulations based on planetary conditions, Park confirmed. The gravity is slightly stronger than our home world, but within acceptable parameters for our exosuit's compensation systems. In the medical bay of the warship, Chief Medical Officer Kang was conducting final checks on the invasion force. Rows of Terran warriors stood at attention as medical drones scanned their vital signs and confirmed their neural links to their combat exosuits were functioning properly. Your biological protection systems are calibrated for Earth's atmospheric composition, Kang informed them. Standard filtration protocols will be more than sufficient for this environment. The warriors acknowledged with silent nods. Each stood nearly 7 feet tall, their bodies enhanced with cybernetic implants that connected directly to their sophisticated battle armor. The sleek exosuits amplified their already formidable strength and reflexes while providing comprehensive environmental protection. Back on the bridge, Commander Du made his final decision. Begin final invasion preparations. I want all warriors in their drop pods within 1 rotation. Yes, Commander, his officers responded in unison. Officer Han returned to her station to continue monitoring Earth. As she adjusted her scanning parameters, she noticed a small anomaly in one of the atmospheric samples. A microscopic organism with an unusual molecular structure appeared briefly on her screen before the computer categorized it as non-threatening and filtered it from the display. Han hesitated for a moment, considering whether to report it, but the anomaly seemed insignificant, just one of countless microorganisms that existed on any living world. The Terran Collective had conquered 17 planets with diverse biospheres. Surely one more wouldn't present any unique challenges. She dismissed the alert and continued her preparations. In the launch bay, thousands of teardrop-shaped drop pods were being prepared. Each pod contained a Terran warrior in full combat gear, along with weapons and supplies needed for the initial assault. The pods were designed to withstand the heat of atmospheric entry and impact with planetary surfaces. Engineer Jin supervised the final checks. All environmental seals are functioning at optimal levels, he reported to Commander Du. The warriors will be fully protected from any planetary contaminants. What Jin didn't realize was that the seals he was so confident in had never been tested against Earth's unique microbial ecosystem. The Terran engineers had designed their systems to filter out known threats, but Earth had developed its own biological defenses over billions of years of evolution, defenses unlike anything the Terran had encountered before. Commander Du returned to the observation deck one final time before the invasion began. He looked down at the unsuspecting planet, its inhabitants going about their daily lives, unaware that by the next sunrise their world would belong to the Terran Collective. Begin the countdown, he ordered, for the glory of the Collective. The massive ship's engines hummed as it positioned itself for optimal deployment. Inside the launch bay, the countdown began. The invasion of Earth was about to begin, and neither the humans nor the Terran had any idea what was truly waiting in Earth's atmosphere. 3,000 drop pods ejected from the Terran mothership, forming a glittering swarm as they began their descent toward Earth. Each teardrop-shaped vessel contained a single warrior sealed inside an advanced combat exosuit, designed to conquer worlds far more hostile than this seemingly unremarkable planet. Chief Engineer Kim stood at her command station, her fingers dancing across holographic controls as she monitored the invasion force. Screens surrounding her displayed the vital signs of each warrior and the status of every pod. The data flowed in perfect harmony, thousands of green indicators showing optimal performance. First wave deployment complete, she announced, her voice carrying a note of pride. All pods have cleared the ship and are beginning atmospheric entry. Commander Du nodded approvingly from his position at the center of the bridge. Time to impact. Approximately 12 minutes until the first pods reach their targets, Kim replied. Atmospheric entry sequence initiating now. The drop pods hit Earth's upper atmosphere at hypersonic speeds, their outer shells heating to a brilliant orange as air molecules compressed against their leading edges. This was expected. The pods were designed to withstand far more extreme conditions. As they descended, they spread out according to the carefully planned invasion grid, targeting major population centers across the planet. Entering mesosphere now, Kim reported calmly. All pods maintaining optimal trajectory. Officer Han looked up from her station. Human detection systems are registering the entry, Commander. Their primitive tracking devices are classifying our pods as meteorites. Du allowed himself a small smile. As expected, by the time they realize what's happening, our warriors will have established ground control. The pods continued their descent, streaking through the stratosphere like artificial shooting stars. Their advanced navigation systems adjusted their course minutely, compensating for winds and maintaining perfect alignment with their designated targets. Entering troposphere in 10 seconds, Kim announced. It was at that moment, as the pods penetrated the lowest layer of Earth's atmosphere, that the first warning indicators began to appear on her console. Small yellow lights blinked into existence, first just a few, then dozens, then hundreds. Kim's fingers moved quickly, pulling up detailed diagnostic information. Her confident expression faltered. Commander, I'm detecting unusual degradation in pod exterior components. Commander Du turned sharply toward her station. Expected friction damage. No, sir, Kim replied, her brow furrowed in confusion. The pattern is different. It's not thermal degradation. It appears to be some form of rapid molecular breakdown of our outer hull material. Du strode to her station, looking over her shoulder at the data stream. How serious? Calculating now, Kim responded, running simulations. The rate of deterioration is concerning, but the pods should maintain structural integrity through landing. Across Earth's night skies, humans stood in their yards, on balconies and rooftops, pointing upward at what appeared to be an unusually intense meteor shower. Amateur astronomers aimed telescopes skyward, capturing images of what they believed were space rocks burning up in the atmosphere. News stations began reporting on the spectacular celestial event, encouraging people to step outside and witness the light show. In Tokyo, 10-year-old Akira Tanaka gazed upward from his apartment balcony. Look, Mom, so many shooting stars. His mother joined him, her eyes widening at the unusually dense meteor shower. Make a wish, Akira, she said softly, not knowing she was witnessing an invasion force. In the skis above them, one of the Terran pods was experiencing problems more severe than the others. Warrior Jun struggled to maintain control as warning indicators flashed across his helmet display. The pod's outer hull was deteriorating at an alarming rate, exposing secondary layers to the atmosphere. Command, this is Pod 1372, Jun transmitted. Experiencing excessive hull degradation. Request immediate guidance. Inside the command ship, Kim received the transmission among dozens of similar reports now flooding in. Commander, warriors are reporting accelerated degradation as they descend deeper into the troposphere. Du's silver eyes narrowed. What's causing this? Unknown, sir, Kim admitted, her fingers frantically analyzing atmospheric samples being relayed from the descending pods. There appears to be something in their atmosphere that our preliminary scans missed, some kind of corrosive agent. In New York City, crowds gathered in Central Park, phones raised to the sky to capture the meteor shower. Live streams across social media platforms showed the fiery trails streaking across the night. News helicopters circled, their cameras zoomed in on what they believed was a natural phenomenon. Reporter Lisa Chen spoke excitedly into her microphone as her cameraman captured footage from a news helicopter. What astronomers are calling an unexpected meteor shower is lighting up skis across the globe tonight. Experts at the National Weather Service say there was no indication of this event in their forecasts. What Lisa couldn't know was that one of the objects in her camera frame was Pod 843, containing Warrior Sun, who was now fighting to maintain control of his rapidly deteriorating vessel. Inside his pod, Sun watched with growing alarm as his external sensors began to fail one by one. "Status report," he demanded of his pod's AI. External hull integrity at 68% and declining. Unknown chemical reactions occurring on surface materials, compensating for trajectory errors. As the pods descended further, they began to encounter Earth's weather systems. They punched through cloud layers where moisture collected on their already compromised surfaces. What should have been harmless water droplets somehow accelerated the degradation, catalyzing chemical reactions that the Terran engineers had never anticipated. On the command ship, Kim's expression grew increasingly troubled as she processed the data. "Commander, the moisture in their atmosphere appears to be acting as a catalyst. It's not just water. It contains microscopic organisms and compounds that are reacting with our hull materials." "Can the pods still complete their mission?" Du demanded. Kim ran quick calculations. "Yes, sir. While the degradation is concerning, the pods should maintain sufficient integrity for landing. The warriors' exosuits remain uncompromised." On Earth, in a small observatory in Australia, astronomer Dr. James Cook tracked several of the objects, his excitement turning to confusion as he analyzed their trajectories. "These aren't behaving like normal meteors," he muttered to his assistant. "They're slowing down and changing direction. That's impossible." His assistant leaned closer to the monitor. "Should we report this?" "To whom?" Dr. Cook replied. "Who would believe us?" As the pods entered the lower atmosphere, their deceleration systems engaged, slowing their descent for the final approach to their targets. But the external degradation had begun to affect these systems, causing some pods to decelerate too quickly while others maintained dangerous speeds. Warrior Men fought with his manual controls as his pod's automated systems failed. "Command, deceleration systems compromised. Attempting manual landing protocols." In the command ship, the situation room had become tense as hundreds of similar reports flooded in. Kim worked frantically to provide support to the descending warriors, but the atmospheric effect was proving more severe than initially calculated. "Commander," she said, her voice now betraying concern, "I believe we've made a miscalculation about Earth's atmosphere. There's something in it, something alive that's attacking our technology." Du's expression darkened. "Alive, explain." "Microscopic organisms," Kim clarified. "Billions of them in every cubic meter of their atmosphere. They seem to be feeding on our exterior components." As the pods approached their landing zones, the first began to impact. Warrior Beck's pod slammed into an empty field outside of Paris, the impact harder than planned due to partial failure of deceleration systems. The pod split open, revealing Beck in his combat exosuit. The warrior emerged, weapons ready, but paused as his suit sensors immediately began registering warnings. Across the planet, the scene repeated itself thousands of times. Terran warriors emerging from their compromised pods, ready to begin the conquest of Earth, unaware that the real battle had already begun at a microscopic level. The invasion of Earth was underway, but not according to plan, and as humans across the world began to realize that these were not meteors, the Terran were about to discover that Earth's greatest defense was not its military forces, but something far smaller and more ancient: the invisible ecosystem that had evolved in its atmosphere over billions of years. Warrior J stepped from his damaged pod into the dense, humid air of the Amazon rainforest. The rich scent of soil, vegetation, and decay surrounded him, filtered through his helmet's air systems but still detectable. Tall trees stretched toward the sky, creating a green canopy that filtered the sunlight into dappled patterns on the forest floor. His advanced vision systems automatically adjusted to the dim light, revealing the complex ecosystem around him. Something felt wrong immediately. His exosuit, a marvel of Terran technology designed to function flawlessly on hundreds of different worlds, began displaying yellow warning indicators across his helmet's heads-up display. "Strange," Jay muttered to himself as he ran a quick diagnostic. "The suit should have been impervious to anything this primitive world could throw at it." He had worn it on planets with acid rain and toxic gas with no issues. He tapped the communication panel on his wrist. "Command, this is Warrior J in Sector 7B suit systems showing unexpected degradation. Request analysis." His voice remained steady, betraying none of the confusion he felt. Terran warriors were trained to remain calm in all situations. Still, he had never seen warnings like these during any previous mission. As Jay waited for a response, he noticed small droplets of water forming on his suit's exterior. The high humidity of the rainforest was causing condensation on his armor, a normal occurrence that his suit system should easily handle. But as he watched, the droplets seemed to be sinking into the material. Tiny pits were forming where the water touched the advanced alloy. "Impossible," he whispered. His suit's external sensors began failing one by one. First environmental analysis, then motion detection, followed by thermal imaging. The yellow warning lights turned red. In the command ship orbiting Earth, Officer Han was the first to notice the pattern in the incoming reports. Warriors from every continent were reporting similar issues: suit degradation, system failures, and component breakdowns. Her fingers flew over the holographic interface as she compiled the data. "Commander," she called urgently, "we have a serious situation developing." Commander Du looked up from the tactical display where he had been monitoring the initial landing phases. "Report." Han projected her findings onto the main screen. "Warriors are experiencing unprecedented equipment failures. The pattern is consistent across all deployment zones regardless of local conditions." "Specify the nature of these failures," Du ordered, his silver eyes narrowing. "It appears to be some form of molecular degradation," Han explained, displaying microscopic images transmitted from the warrior suits. "Look at this." The screen showed the surface of a Terran exosuit at extreme magnification. Tiny organisms, invisible to the naked eye, were attacking the material, breaking down the complex molecular structures that gave the suits their strength and functionality. "Something in their atmosphere is attacking our technology at the molecular level," she said, her voice tense. "The moisture, the microorganisms, they're consuming our nanocircuitry." Du stared at the images in disbelief. "How is this possible? Our materials are designed to resist corrosion from even the most hostile environments." "This isn't simple corrosion, Commander," Han replied. "These are living organisms that appear to be feeding on our technology. Our preliminary scans detected the microbes but classified them as harmless based on their simple structure." Chief Engineer Kim joined them, her face pale. "We made a critical error in our assessment. Earth's microorganisms have evolved to break down complex materials over billions of years. Our nanotechnology, particularly the self-repairing components in our suits, resembles food to these microbes." On the tactical display, red warning indicators multiplied like a spreading disease, each light representing a warrior reporting critical system failures. Back in the Amazon, Jay attempted to engage his weapon systems as he heard movement in the undergrowth nearby. The plasma rifle integrated into his armor failed to respond. He tried to activate his defensive shields, but received only error messages. "Command, weapons, and defensive systems offline," he reported, backing toward his pod. "Request immediate extraction." Similar scenes played out across the planet. In the Siberian tundra, Warrior Sun watched in horror as his suit's heating system failed, exposing him to the bitter cold. In the Sahara Desert, Warrior Gill's cooling systems shut down as sand-dwelling microorganisms attacked his suit's external regulators. In a suburb outside Chicago, Warrior Ta found himself facing a local police response team. His stealth systems had failed, making him fully visible to the humans' primitive detection equipment. He aimed his disruptor at the approaching vehicles, but the weapon sparked and shut down. The molecular components that generated its energy field had been compromised. Commander Du paced the bridge of the command ship, his usual composure cracking as reports of failures continued to flood in. "How did we miss this?" he demanded. "How could our scans not detect such a threat?" Science Officer Min looked up from his analysis station. Commander, these organisms are unlike anything we've encountered. They're not just consuming our materials, they are evolving to do it more efficiently. The rate of adaptation is unprecedented. Meaning, Du asked sharply. Meaning the longer our technology is exposed to Earth's atmosphere, the faster it will be broken down, Min explained. It's as if their entire biosphere is mounting an immune response against our invasion. On the main screen, a real-time map showed the status of each warrior. Nearly 40% were now reporting critical failures, with another 30% experiencing significant degradation. Engineering Chief Kim's voice was grim as she delivered her assessment. The moisture in Earth's atmosphere is the key vector. It carries these microorganisms and provides the medium for them to attack our systems. The higher the humidity, the faster the degradation. Commander Du stared at the tactical display in growing horror. This was supposed to be a simple conquest, a primitive world with minimal defenses, easy to overwhelm with superior Terran technology. Instead, they were facing defeat at the hands of invisible enemies they couldn't fight. "Can we adapt our systems?" he asked Kim. "Create a countermeasure?" Kim shook her head. "Not quickly enough. We would need to completely redesign our technology from the molecular level. Our current materials and systems are fundamentally vulnerable to this type of attack." In a military base in South Korea, humans were cautiously approaching a downed Terran warrior. Warrior Bon lay motionless, his suit systems completely failed. The exosuit that should have made him nearly invincible had become a prison, locking him inside as its control systems failed one by one. Through his faceplate, Bon watched the humans approach, weapons drawn. They spoke to each other in their primitive language, pointing at his immobilized form. He tried one last time to activate his emergency beacon, but received no response. Back on the command ship, Officer Han delivered more disturbing news. "Commander, it's not just the external components being affected. The microorganisms are finding ways inside the sealed systems. Warriors are reporting that the organisms are reaching their life support functions." Medical Officer Kang joined the grim conversation. "We have another problem. These microbes aren't just attacking our technology, they are beginning to affect our biology as well. Our immune systems have no defense against Earth's pathogens." Commander Du stood silent for a long moment, watching as more and more red indicators appeared on his tactical display. Each light represented a warrior of the Terran Collective, a highly trained soldier equipped with technology centuries beyond Earth's capabilities, being defeated not by human weapons, but by the smallest life forms on the planet. "Prepare extraction protocols," he finally ordered, his voice heavy. "Priority to warriors with functional communication systems. We must salvage what we can of our force." Officer Han looked up in shock. "Commander, are you ordering a retreat?" "Not a retreat," Du replied sharply. "A strategic withdrawal. This planet has defenses we did not anticipate. We must regroup and develop new approaches." But even as he gave the order, Du knew that many warriors would not be recovered. Earth's invisible defenders had turned the tide of battle before the real invasion had even begun. The conquest that should have been complete within hours had turned into a disaster. Earth's atmosphere, teeming with life too small to see but too numerous to defeat, had proven deadlier than the most sophisticated alien engineering in the galaxy. Officer Park stood with his back against the crumbling wall of what humans called a warehouse on the outskirts of a city called Manila. His squad of 5 elite Terran warriors had been reduced to hiding like cornered animals. Their mission to secure this population center had gone catastrophically wrong in less than 2 hours. "Hold your positions," Park shouted as his weapon systems flickered and died with a pathetic whine. The brilliant blue glow of his plasma rifle faded to nothing, leaving him holding what was essentially a useless metal tube. He tapped frantically at his wrist controls, trying to reboot the system, but the interface only showed error messages in flashing red symbols. Through gaps in the warehouse walls, Park could see the human military forces regrouping. They had initially fallen back in terror when the Terran arrived, their primitive projectile weapons seeming hopeless against the aliens' advanced armor and energy shields. But something had changed. The humans had noticed the aliens' growing difficulties and were cautiously approaching, their initial fear replaced by determined curiosity. "Sir, my life support is failing," reported Warrior Jin, his voice raspy through the degrading communication system. "Suit integrity at 23% and falling." Park looked at his squad member with growing dread. Jin's once gleaming exosuit was now dull with visible pitting across its surface. Thin wisps of vapor escaped from joints that should have been perfectly sealed. The advanced defensive armor that had protected Terran warriors on 100 hostile worlds was being defeated by invisible enemies. "Command, request immediate extraction," Park transmitted, his voice steady despite his rising panic. "Squad 4 is facing critical systems failure. Human forces are closing in." His transmission went unanswered. The communication network that should have linked all Terran forces in a seamless web of information had deteriorated just like everything else exposed to Earth's atmosphere.